there's a really nice taco place just over here. But they give you like $5 tacos or $5.
So after yesterday, I was just doing some creative thinking, you know, and I thought maybe there's a new business opportunity for us. Yeah, we set up a drive-through kiosk, like coffee kiosk, in on Highway 8, like King Street, going through Grimsby and Beamsville, and then we figure out a way to get them to close the Queen E and make a fortune in an afternoon. I'm telling you. Yeah, it's brilliant. Okay, get started on that. Hey, how you doing? Welcome into Season 4, Episode 13 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. We are fueled by Gale's Gas Bars, powered by WeeStreem, supported by Verge Insurance, Hartzell Marine, as well as Ace Alignment. We are, as usual, comfortably hosted here at Fiddler's Poorhouse in downtown St. Catharines. And you might still notice there's a little bit of haze in the air on this beautiful late spring, almost summer day. Come on in, and we'll get ourselves sorted out here. Great place to come on in and join us for lunch, by the way, and spend some time here at Fiddler's Poorhouse. No smoke in here. We're all clean and clear, and the circulated air, it's all perfect. This apparently, we'll touch on this in a little bit, this apparently might be the worst smoke day in Niagara history. I don't know, but I find that quite a bold claim. And we'll just touch on that at the beginning of what's going on. A name that I'm sure that will live in infamy with us forever is the name of Paul Bernardo. I made a vow years ago that I would never say that name in public again, but there is a reason to say it this week, and we'll touch on that. Also, kidney donorship requests seem to be on the rise. We're going to be talking with Kyle, a fellow who you'll meet a little later on in the program, who has just another phenomenally stressful story, I guess you might say, when it comes to search for kidneys. And we have a number of things that are going to be happening today on the program. We're so glad you could come along and join us. We'll be back and get this shindig underway in about 30 seconds. Come on in. We are here, and as you can see, what we were talking about out on the street is on your screen graphically, and it's no joke for people that may be experiencing some sort of respiratory ailment or issues when it comes to just breathing in general. We have still smoke. There's the wildfire smoke forecast, Southern Ontario's weather with context and clarity, et cetera, as you see there. But now, if you look at Niagara, purple being heavy impact from the smoke, or heavy smoke impact, depending on which way you want to phrase it. We're just on the fringe of that, but yes, it could very well be one of the worst air quality days that we have had in the Niagara Peninsula for quite some time. Deep purple. Sorry, I had to do
We were all thinking it.
Smoke on the water is deep purple. Oh gosh, sometimes I can't even forgive myself. Okay, and of course the lighter colors are less smoke, as you would expect. The lightish blues are the lightest. And then we've got moderate to medium to heavy all the way over from Leamington through all the way to Cornwall, through Kingston and Brockville. Just, like, look at this. That's a lot of impact from smoke. Now, I was used to experiencing this back in British Columbia when they had a lot of the British Columbia fires. The smoke would travel to many, many, many communities just because of the wind. It's amazing how quickly the wind and the weather patterns will move this stuff around. But we've got 40 plus, at least last night, there's probably more now, but 40 plus wildfires burning in Ontario, and there are add more to that in Quebec. So that's what is fueling this smoke here. So again, if you have any issues with regard to respiratory illness or difficulty in your family, keep your folks inside. I mean, not wanting to be fear mongers, but if people are sensitive to this stuff, it can make a difference. Kevin, your daughter is involved in a soccer tournament. Is she not that they moved inside?
Yeah, they moved inside, a young sportsplex. So thankful they were able to do that. Yesterday, all the kids got brought inside for recess and also gym classes, and I imagine that's what most schools are doing across Niagara today, no matter what the school board. So, yeah, I mean, I can feel it in the air.
Well, it is just a gentle haze, and the unfortunate part about it is there are no clouds. It is a beautiful sunny day, other than the smoke impact.
Yeah, but I'm seeing stuff like this, Lee. So let me share this. Here's a photo from Belleville.
Yeah.
Looking towards downtown from the Norris Whitney Bridge.
Heck, we flew into Toronto.
What's that?
Look at that. It looks like smog in LA in the 70s. That's what it looks like. Because I was there, and that's what it looked like. It was like almost brown, soupy stuff in those days, but that was from pollution. That was from air pollution and exhaust and things. But this is just literally smoke. And one of the things that I noticed yesterday is Toronto seemed a lot worse than us as we headed back, because my wife and I landed at Pearson International Airport yesterday afternoon about 3 o'clock, and it was super, super hazy, smoky in Toronto. And as we headed toward Niagara, yeah, we got caught up in that stupid traffic thing, but as we headed toward Niagara, it was less dense, less soupy, and that's probably part and parcel because there was also less impact from regular pollution like exhaust and all those other things. But that's that hazy sun that Kevin showed there. Anyway, point being, this might probably be the worst day of the week, and it is destined to get, from what I hear, gradually better as the days wear on. However, and we're going to have some rain over the next 48 hours, but apparently not enough to completely obliterate the smoke. It's going to be with us for a little while. Not as thick as it could be, but as that claim made when Nick put it up. Hi, Nick, by the way. Hi, Nick's mom from Niagara 411 put it up and said this could be the worst air quality day ever.
Yeah, so Lee,
in Niagara.
Tell me what we're looking at right here.
A gray screen, Kevin, is what we're looking at right there.
This is a live feed of the New York City skyline. That's
man, you don't want to go out in that.
I had no idea it was this bad.
No.
I mean, we're not getting this.
Well, no, because this is like I said, this is the double triple whammy, man. This is not just smoke. This is smoke mixed with all of the other detritus that comes from operating businesses in the big city. So there's a lot of things added in there. That's not just smoke. I remember when I was in California in the 70s, visiting my aunt and uncle and cousins, etc., and my cousin was going out to play tennis, and his mother said, "You're not going out in this. You'll kill yourself. You're not going out in this." He said, "Mom, if I didn't go out in this, I'd never go out." So I guess when you're young and healthy, you can do this stuff, but you do have to be careful with that. And
there's just a lot of stuff coming in from New York City.
And our Minister of the Environment in Canada.
I mean, look at that. That looks apocalyptic.
It does.
That's Times Square, right?
It does, yeah. Wow. Speaking of that, Kevin, I'm going to go back just a little bit, regress, I guess is the word, to when COVID was at its height. You talk about looking apocalyptic. When I was lined up to go into a store that could only have 4 people in it at one time, I looked around this mall, and do you remember those days when you looked around the mall and you saw lines of people outside of every store? Everybody was wearing masks standing in line, waiting their turn, nobody talking to anybody. And I was like, man, I'm in the middle of some bizarre movie that's going on. And that was one of my memories, stark memories of COVID. Now, there's a ballpark. Look at that. Is that Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, that's Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. Look at that. And ball players are out there. Yes, I know they get paid millions of dollars, but they don't get millions of dollars to put their health at risk. But I guess they do.
Now, Lee, I'm supposed to go. I mean, we are going to the Sky Dome tonight for the Jays game. I'm assuming they'll close the dome, right?
I was just going to say, I would hope they do, in spite of the fact that it's supposed to be technically a nice evening. I would expect that they would close the roof of the dome just because of the smoke. Let me know whether they do or don't. Send me a note or something. Put a picture up on there.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering what I'm walking into now.
So are they playing Houston again tonight?
Yeah, it is.
Did they win last night?
They did. Gosman threw a gem, I think 13 Ks.
Yeah. I stopped watching it when the Jays were like 3 or 4 to 1. I didn't want to watch the rest of the game. I just gotten home and I was tired, so I didn't watch the rest of the game. But that's good. Manoah's now he's playing major junior A ball.
Yeah, pretty much.
Down in Florida. We're going to take a really serious turn in the content of the program for just a moment. And Kevin and I discussed at great length this morning whether we would even touch this story or not, because both of us, as people being in the media and having had to cover this story from its genesis back in the day, had vowed we did not want to speak that name that should not be spoken. But today, this story came out, and I believe that we have to speak it only for one reason only, and that's for you to be able to have a legitimate way to make your mark and your opinion known by attaching your name to a petition if you so choose. As you will see there, Leslie Mahaffey and Carla Homolka's sister on the far left, and Kristen French as well. The three victims of that horrible monster that we know as Paul Bernardo. And the reason this is news today and this week, even though the name just sticks on my tongue like a callus, is the fact that there is a move afoot from the legal beagles and our justice system to move that animal from super security to medium security detention. And I get the fact that there are legal machinations to be done within the system for everyone, and I suppose what applies to one applies to all, and we have to accept that to some degree. Premier Ford came out with the expression "nothing but a scumbag," referring to him. Ontario Premier Doug Ford comments on the Bernardo move. And he even mentioned the fact that whoever made the decision should be either fired or laid off or whatever. And I'm sure there are, as I mentioned before, there are legal precedents in place that would support the logistics from a legal perspective of this move. Now, which leads us to why we brought it up at all, or we wouldn't even mention it. But there is a petition that is online, and you can sign that petition to do your best, if you so choose, to block that move of Bernardo from maximum to medium security. Now, it doesn't mean he's ever going to get out. It doesn't mean he's ever going to get parole, excuse me. But it's an easing of his situation. And I don't know anybody that would really approve that situation being eased. And as you can see, our co-founder of WeeStream, founder of this show, Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry, and executive producer of this program, Kevin Jack, is currently going through what you would go through if you would like to sign the petition that is designed to block this move from maximum to medium security for Paul Bernardo. And frankly, I never thought that I would say that name live in the media again, but I'm saying it now just for this reason. Deserves to rot in hell for eternity and enjoy every second of it. Anyway, that's why we brought it up. And it's especially, I realize that there are heinous crimes that take place in communities and have taken place in communities and civilizations for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. But this is one that is so close to Niagara's sweet spot that it will live in infamy forever here in Niagara. So that's why we brought it up. Otherwise, we would never mention that name again around here.
Yeah, know what I like to do, Lee, and I implemented this years ago. Broadcasting is
I know exactly
refer
what
to the
you're
victim,
say.
and it's their murderer, right? And that saves you from having to say the name. It's Leslie Mahafy's murderer.
Yeah,
It's Kristen French's murderer.
yeah. I don't think there is. I agree with you up to a point, most definitely, and that goes for, in particular, when we started talking about this, Kevin, years ago in the media, we were at CKTB working at the time, and we agreed on this totally. And I think you probably, not just because you're sitting there, but you probably took that concept a little bit more seriously than others, because you're very adamant about this. And what I was talking about was mass shooters. When we were talking about mass killings in those places in the United States in particular, they concentrated because there were so many people killed. It was almost impossible to recognize all of the victims because there were so many names. That didn't make them any less important, but it made it more difficult to report. So the only thing the reporters could report on was the shooter, was the criminal, was the executor of these people, and so that name became front and center, and that's what they want. That's what these people are after. Is yes, there's mental illness involved, and there's all this stuff, and I'm sensitive to that to a point. But the thing is, the shooter, the perpetrator became. Like take Las Vegas, for example, at that country concert, the fellow mowing down hundreds of people below this high hotel room in Las Vegas during the country music festival that was there. The only names, until later, when they came out with the human interest stories that were wonderful of people helping people, but the name of the assailant was the name that became household words. And that's and that's where you were going, and that exactly. and I totally agree with you on that.
Now, Lee, let's I'll just kind of get us out of this, and something we didn't talk about. We talked about briefly, but last Tuesday, WeeStream was involved in a very moving ceremony in Welland, as we volunteered our time and our service to live stream the funeral of Captain Craig Bowman, affectionately known as Opie.
Opie, yeah.
And I was very happy to do so. Opie's a guy who I had only met one time. I began playing hockey with the Welland firefighters this year.
Yeah, you have a number of firefighters that are friends or associates of yours?
Absolutely. So, I mean, you know, when one of my firefighter buddies, a guy that I've known for 15 years, calls me up, and it was right after we were done our last show, and I said, I'm going to reach out to them. I didn't even make it out of Fiddlers. They reached out to me and said, hey, KJ, can you stream this? I'm like, you know what? I was going to call you, and absolutely I'll do it, and I'll be more than happy to do so.
I'm glad that happened. Look at it. Yeah.
If anybody didn't see it, it's available. It's very touching. It was a very moving ceremony, I would say, unlike anything that Welland has ever seen before.
Tell people how to find your archived videos, Kevin.
The best way to do it would be go to YouTube and search for WeeStream, or honestly, if you went to YouTube and search for Craig Bowman, the funeral service of Craig Bowman, it'll come up. And I'll just skip through some of the highlights here. I mean, here you have, there were just hundreds of men and women in uniform lining King Street.
And I was thinking of, sorry to interrupt you, I was thinking of what a great venue that was to choose for this event, this event, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, you can see them all here. Was I think Paul Lalama was playing. They had just brought, and it's Paul Lalama paying tribute musically. Captain Bowman, I mean,
If
Kevin,
he
there's
wasn't who he was, straight from his dad.
I mean, some of these
He
images
was good
are
at
just,
using humor to get through the tough times. Craig and Allison were visiting.
I mean, that's something
Angie
that the
and
Welland Arena I don't
when
think has
Angie's
ever
doctor
seen.
called
No.
with the
Oh,
bad
God,
news.
no.
Edward Kelly, president of the International Fire. Hope he's
I'm trying to see if I can get to the family, because I mean, that just absolutely broke me. There's
I
his
can
wife.
honestly say that this love never wavered. He made sure
Allison?
every single day to make me feel special and loved. His mere presence in the room brought me comfort and peace. When I was upset, he stayed calm. When I was worried, he said we would be okay. When I wasn't sure what to do, he figured it out. He gave me the experience of being deeply loved, understood, and most importantly, gave me the gift of 2 amazing children. Just when I thought I couldn't possibly love this man anymore, watching him become a father took it to a whole new level. Our daughter Lexi was definitely Daddy's little girl. He had this way of taking a storm and calming every
And Lee,
moment.
I mean, WeeStream as a company and as an organization are very proud to know that we gave this gift to Allison. She
As
talked
you
about the
should.
gift of life, and for us, she'll now have this service to look
For
back
eternity.
on for eternity. And trust me, very heartfelt to say that WeeStream was very proud to do it, and very proud to do it at no charge.
And kudos-
Didn't
kudos
even
to you guys for
didn't
doing
even blink at it. Absolutely clear the schedule. And I'll tell you, we had stuff to do on that day, and we cleared our schedule. We got it all out of the way to make sure that we were there for Craig, and not just his family, but the extended family of firefighters. And you really felt it in that room today, how much it is a family, how much they care for each other, how much they have each other's back.
Such a young family, just in the prime of their development. What a strong woman to be able to stand up and do what she did. And one of the things I did want to mention, and not that I want to commercialize this, but if there is an event or a happening or anything that is important to you, contact Kevin and Brandon Scram at WeeStream and see what they might be able to do to give you a hand. Now, of course, not everything is going to be pro bono, but you've got to look at the quality and the comprehensive coverage of this very emotional event and say, hey, it was well done, and kudos to you guys for doing that, Kevin.
Thanks, Lee. And again, R.I.P. Opie, and condolences to Allison and the rest of the family.
Yeah. Let me tell you what's coming up on the program. Let me just take a break here and acknowledge our sponsors. Once again, our keynote sponsor is Gale's Gas Bars, owned and operated by Jessica Friesen, fueling Niagara for over the last 50 years and probably the next 50 or more. And we always appreciate their unending title sponsorship support of this program. It's Pride Month, and Gale's is recognizing that. They are Pride registered, Rainbow registered company here in the province of Ontario, which of course means that it is a safe haven for employees and customers alike, regardless of your sex, creed, color, gender identification, pronouns, or whatever. It is a safe environment for you. Also to a long-term sponsor of ours, Verge Insurance Group, Mark Shirk and Blake and all the rest of you, at another born and bred Niagara company. And again, that is what we try to do with this program wherever possible. Made in Niagara for Niagarans in Niagara. And although it's available and it is viewed worldwide, we are focused content-wise whenever and however possible in the Niagara Peninsula. And our two newest sponsors, this is now the third program for ACE Alignment. I want you to make sure you stop by to ACE Alignment on Ormond Street in Feulled. Darren and Matt would love to chat with you, and they've got so many different services. Wheel alignments, brakes, suspension, MTO, motor vehicle inspection station, and that's important depending on what your needs are with regard to the regulations of vehicle inspections and registration here in Ontario. Front end repairs, oil changes, all makes and models of trucks, cars, SUVs, including classic cars and tuners are serviced there. So stop in and see head mechanic Darren Miller and senior mechanic Matt Crompton, and they'll look after your needs at ACE Alignment. Dave DeGrave at Hartzell Marine, also getting an awful lot of positive comment online since he's been a member of our family. So we want to thank Hartzell Marine for your sponsorship here. Also the third week, located on Ormond Street, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, we have our full complement of sponsors: Gale's, Verge, Ace, and Hartzell. Thank you very much for being a part of the program. Kevin, there have been a lot of bad drone pilots around Niagara over the last week. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. First of all, I want to remind you, coming up at 12:40 today is Amanda Brait. She's Director in Development of Stewardship for Women's Place. Used to be called, it's now called Birchway.
Yeah, Birchway, Niagara.
Birchway, Niagara, yeah. And they've got a big book thing coming up that we want to tell you about. Then we're going to get into kidney stuff. We've got Jennifer Byford coming in, a recent kidney recipient. She got the kidney late January, I think it was. And the kind of heartbreaking story of Kyle Pitt from Port Colborne, who is in desperate search of a kidney donor as well. Just a really, as I mentioned, heartbreaking story that Kyle has. And our musical guest today is going to be James Blonde, coming up to play us off the stage at 1:30. We're going to come back here now to this drone thing. This seems to be almost a drone loss epidemic. Lost in the wind. I'm not a drone guy, so I could be causing some mispronunciations here. Contixo or Contixo F-31 4K drone. The picture in front of you right now. Lost in the wind. Where do they go? Where do they land? If they land somewhere and it's in somebody's yard, do they not see? Do they not report it? How do you report a drone if it happens to crash into your mulberry tree in your backyard? What do you do? What is to be done?
Well, apparently you go to Niagara 411 because there's been a spate of them.
That's what I was going to say. If you're missing your drone in Welland, one landed in a driveway in Sylvan Drive between 2:30 and 3 p.m. This was 6 days ago, by the way. You'll need to describe it, make and model, to claim it. Okay. Please.
Not too long before that. There you go, April 13th.
Yeah. Drone missing in St. Catharines. I'm hoping we can get
Oh, sorry. I wasn't sure if you wanted to read that. But yeah, I mean, all these
drones, it doesn't matter.
Drones go missing.
Yeah. Now, is this just... This can't be bad drone manufacturing. This has to be bad piloting.
Yeah,
like,
I would
what
agree
happens?
With that. I would agree with that.
You're supposed to fly this thing, and you lose control, and it goes down somewhere. Well, it's your own damn fault, isn't it? You crash landed your drone. if somebody from WestJet is going to go down in somebody's backyard, guess who gets the blame for it? It's not the manufacturer of the plane, usually. All right. I'm just saying, maybe you need drone pilot lessons. Maybe you should get a license for these things. Do you see the day coming when, I guess maybe depending on the technology or the size or the make or what the capabilities of these drones are, you should have to have license.
And you do, Lee. I think the threshold is 250 grams. So it's a weight issue.
I don't do grams.
I don't either.
I do ounces and pounds. I'm sorry.
I know, but
I'm imperial.
So you will see a lot of these like off-the-shelf drones will come in at a weight of 249 grams.
Okay.
So that because if you get to 250, now you're a commercial operator. Now you need a license.
Okay, but people get drones for the kids.
I know.
And they like flying a kite.
Oh, I know. They're
at least a kite is attached by a string.
WeeStreem, we have a drone. It's pretty incredible, Lee. If you're flying your drone, and of course most of them use, the prosumer versions, use cell phones as your interface between what the drone sees and what you see.
Okay.
And all of the no-fly zones and everything are all mapped out on what you see. So if you're flying close to an airport, it'll alert you. If you're in a no-fly zone, and around Niagara, that would be, along the international border.
Have you ever lost a drone?
No.
No.
Have never lost a drone.
So these people that are losing drones need to have drone education.
Yes.
There is an issue here with drone operation. Learn your drone. Be the ball. Be the drone. They shouldn't be landing in trees and people's backyards and goose nests. And do geese have nests? I guess they do.
So, Lee, this is another kind of tech issue that arose in Niagara this week, and it said it's coming out of at a Dennistown area in Welland. Some high-tech thieves.
Okay.
Using
This is. Explain this. You explain this.
Okay. So
because
what they do, and
I kind of get it, but
I've seen this before on like Fifth Estate and things like that. But now with a lot of cars, it's just a push button to start.
Well, yeah, we have the fobs.
Right, and so the fob is putting out a small RF signal.
Yes.
A radio frequency. And the car, and it interacts. So the car knows you have the fob. Okay, fine, you can start the vehicle. Well, what criminals are doing...
But the fob has to be very close to the car.
Exactly. But if you hang your keys just inside your door, the criminals will go close to your door and see if they can pick up that RF signal. And they'll do one of two things. They'll either copy that RF signal into a blank key fob, because if you imagine, if you lost your key fob and you go to the manufacturer, you go to the dealership,
they'll reprogram it.
Right, they got a blank one there that they'll reprogram.
Yeah.
So the criminals have blank ones, they'll reprogram it. The other thing that they do is they'll use an amplifier, a signal amplifier, and they'll just boost your signal. So somebody will stand in front of your door boosting the signal while somebody else...
to make it cover a wider area.
Exactly. So somebody else is opening the door and starting it up and taking off.
Okay, but now on that same note, those RF signals only travel so far, and then the car will cease to operate, right? So does this thing go with you and continue to operate the car?
It does, as far as I know, and I've been in there. If you've ever started a car but you didn't have your keys with you, you can drive as far as you want. But once you
don't shut it off.
Right, don't shut it off. I don't believe that cars just shut off without the key fob. It'll tell you that you're driving away from your key fob. So then
by then will they have like reprogrammed another key fob for it?
I'm assuming so. Because of course they want to start it up again, or maybe they just take it, cut off the catalytic converters and take off.
Yeah. So one would think, what is the range of this? Because you said if you hang your keys inside your door. What if I take my keys to bed with me upstairs?
So this is what Nick put up, and he put up an Amazon link to this box, and they call them Faraday boxes.
Yeah.
And encouraging people to put their keys inside these boxes.
So it's like RF frequency
it's
secure.
A killer. Yep, exactly. So and he put a link up there to the Amazon. Thing is, though, I mean, do you want to be reaching in and out of a box every single day to grab your keys? I got a hook right by my door.
Yeah.
So now what? Am I susceptible?
So now how often is this happening? This is very sophisticated stuff.
I mean, I didn't think it was happening down here, but I mean, you look here and it says
Faraday box. So somebody by
reports are coming in from Welland in the Dennistown area that over the past few nights there have been 2 individuals breaking into vehicles. They appear to have a device to copy or mimic a person's key fob.
So I guess all you'd have to do is walk by somebody's door and there would be some sort of indicator as to the fact that you've made contact with this thing. Huh. All right.
I know.
There you go.
If only they could put their brains to good use.
Oh yes. If all the criminals were righteous, upstanding, brilliant, genius people, this is almost too crazy to be real. But this is something that you would see in some stupid comic movie of bad criminals. An American driver. I have a hard time even reading this. An American driver was arrested after following his GPS coordinates that were entered improperly, assuming he entered them improperly, and was attempting to enter Canada. I guess, Kevin, by the sounds of this, he never intended to come to Canada. But his GPS sent him here. It sent him to the bridge. It sent him to the Rainbow Bridge in Niagara Falls. So, as a result, he was apprehended with 181 kilograms of cannabis and over $602,000 US in his vehicle, which we know is really not acceptable. So there's all the bags of cash. He'd had a pretty good business, I guess, Kevin.
Yeah, had a good year.
Yeah. And he accidentally ended up at the bridge and obviously couldn't turn around. He had no place to go, so had to try to cross the bridge. Oops. Now, like, that's got to be the biggest oops of your career, right? When you go to prison, you don't want to tell anybody that story. What are you in for? Murder.
600 grand in cash. He's driving around. I mean, I love the comments on this story, Lee. People saying, when I drive around with 600K cash, I double check the GPS.
Yeah. Well, it's like that. What the most impressive man in the world. I don't drive around with cash very often, but when I do. Joe Vieira is in there.
Oh,
as
you're
well.
just tagging somebody.
Yeah.
You heard about the buffet at Fresco's.
Thanks, Alex.
I always double check my GPS when traveling with 400 pounds of weed and 600K in cash. He's right. That's almost $1 million Canadian. He's pretty darn close.
That's a lot of money.
Just cash.
And there's a good comment right there. And this gets lost in these stories. Great job, Canadian Border Service Association. Yeah, the CBSA people get a lot of heat for some of their operations and some of the stuff that goes on, but that was cool that they nailed this guy. Of course, he wasn't too hard to nail when you look at it. Oops, I tripped and fell into another country with an excessive amount of drugs and cash. Hey. Can you imagine now you're sitting...
Excessive is a relative term.
It is. For some of us, $600,000 isn't a lot of money.
Yeah.
Pocket change. Can you imagine now you're sitting and you're filling out a customs entry form? Cash over 10,000? Yes. How much? 600,000. Okay. And you're bringing any? Yes. You're bringing this. You're bringing how many kilograms? 181 kilograms of okay, marijuana. Okay, got that. Okay, off you go then. Thank you. Enjoy your stay in Canada, sir. All right. Amanda Brait is with us. She's Director and Development and Stewardship at Warner's Place, and which used to be known as Women's Place of South Niagara, but is now under a new branding. And they got a big event coming up that we're going to talk about. But first of all, we want to say hi to Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
There. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for asking.
I can see that you're already in the throes of your event. Where are you and what's going on?
So I'm here at the Gale Center here in Niagara Falls, and we're at the 44th annual book ride event in support of Birchway, Niagara. So 100% of the proceeds supports those in our community that are affected by gender-based violence.
Okay. first of all, before we get to the details of the book, Riot, let's dig deeper into what the real important issue here is, the work that Birchway does, and which used to be known as the Women's Center of South Niagara. Now, why the name change?
Yeah, that's a great question, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to that. So we offer, our services include safe shelter, counseling, and the transitional housing, legal support, the 24-hour support line, and the public education and prevention. And when we look at the services that we offer, we already are offering services to young men, like, teenage boys who are staying in our shelter, or through public education, or who access our services through an outreach basis. So the name Women's Place just didn't truly speak to everybody that we were helping. Right. And while we do know that predominantly abuse does happen to women and children more, we also are aware that it happens to men. So we wanted a name that we could grow into in years' time, when we hope to eventually have services for men as well. And we know that we need everybody involved to address the issue of gender-based violence.
To me, that seems like a really forward-thinking movement, because let's face it, there is a certain bias when you talk about domestic violence and or abuse or psychological difficulties, etc. Oftentimes, and justifiably so, I might add, it is the women who are the focus, and the children, of course, that are the focus most often of needing the kind of supports that you provide. However, there are those lost souls out there that factor into this in young men and older men and, males in general. And what was it that precipitated, what was the catalyst for you moving forward to support that sort of almost perhaps lost gender in our society, which it's been pretty hard to address? What moved you in that direction?
Well, we know that hurt people hurt other people. Nobody wants to be an abuser, and we know that men are being abused. And quite often when we go out and do our prevention and public education,
right,
people will say, well, what about the men? And we listen to that, and we recognize that there are men out there that do need support as well. Those services would, of course, be off-site and pending funding, but we know that there's an issue, and to end the cycle, we need to address that as well and be able to offer support towards men who, are abused themselves, or men who identify as abusers that would like to change. So I think when we all work together, when we all work together, that's when we can, get to the root of the issue and end the cycle.
So your previous name incorporated the phrase South Niagara. What areas of Niagara do you actually serve?
We serve all of south of Niagara, so Wainfleet, Port Colborne, Fort Erie, Pelham, Welland, Niagara Falls. I think I've covered everything.
Yeah,
but
okay.
We serve all of south of Niagara.
And the services that you do provide, I'm assuming that these are available on a website or something, but could you run down, give us a sample of some of the success stories or some of the people, not by name necessarily, but some of the situations in which you have weighed in and been of service?
Yeah, so the name Birchway is actually really representative. The symbolism, like on my shirt here, it's a life rings, and it's supposed to represent the tree, the tree, the inside of the tree, but also a fingerprint, because we recognize that every person's journey is unique. So basically, Birchway is there to be an ally to anybody that walks through our doors, to help them along their journey, whether that be, staying in our shelter or working with a legal advocate to, navigate the court system to find affordable housing that they can live in, an abuse-free life, or, safety planning, et cetera, et cetera. So we're there, and we're meeting unique needs of those in our community. That's what Birchway is all about.
That's wonderful. And I know that we're talking about a fundraiser here, and we'll get to the details of that in a second, but where does the lion's share of your funding come from?
So we do receive about 70% of our funding from the Ministry of Community and Children's Social Services. Mm-hmm. That does leave a gap of $600,000 annually that we do need to raise, and that's why events like the book riot that's happening behind me are so important. So those funds are just to sustain what we're doing, and as everybody has been affected by, all of our operating costs have increased, and maybe for those that don't know, we recently had and had an expansion of our shelters. We consolidated our Welland and Niagara Falls shelters and went as an agency from 36 beds to 40. And those additional 10 beds are operated entirely based on donations and fundraising efforts. So it's really, really critical.
And 10 may not sound like a lot to some, but 10 for an operation such as yours is incredibly helpful. I mean, those extra 10 spots can mean a lot to a number of people over time.
Absolutely. And I mean, the sad part is we remain full. And there has been a report issued for, just in Ontario, there was 52 femicides just last year alone. So that's one woman a week that is murdered because she's a woman. So we know, and those numbers are reflective in the work that we're doing here at Birchway. We're receiving more calls, and the calls that we are receiving, our frontline staff are telling us they're more serious, more strangulation, more stabbing. So it is a very serious issue, and the support of the community is needed now more than ever, so we can reach and help that many more people in our community.
How many people work under the umbrella of Birchway?
Usually around 43.
Wow. And are these paid or volunteers or a combination of both?
These are paid staff, but I have to say we have the most incredible volunteers, Birchway Niagara, and it's reflective right in the work that's happening behind me. This event will have over 200 volunteers just to make sure that this is all a great success, but we have a core group of volunteers that meet every week to sort through all the donations that are received from the community so that everything is super organized when it's here set up at the sale.
Okay, so let's talk about that event that is happening right there behind you. And thank you for using this as a set for doing this interview, because it gives us an interesting perspective on exactly what is happening. So let's go to the nuts and bolts of this event. What do we do? How do we participate? Take it away.
Absolutely. So the event started actually last night. We had a pre-sale event where we did ask for a $10 admission, but the event runs from last night all the way up to Sunday. So now it's free admission. You just come to the Gale Center on Feulled Road here in Niagara Falls. You can see the ice has been removed, and we have filled it with almost 200 tables full of books, puzzles.
It's a good thing
CDs.
you took the ice away.
There's also some vinyl here that some people might be interested in, comic books. So there's something for everyone. Most titles are only $3. CDs and DVDs are only $1, so that's a great deal. And we have different promotions every day. So this is the first day without the pre-sale. So there's no special today, but tomorrow is tomorrow is, what is tomorrow?
Tomorrow
Friday.
would be Thursday.
Tomorrow is Thursday.
That's
Thursday
all I know. It's Thursday. I lose track of dates, but Thursday I know.
I'm in a whirlwind. Friday is a PD day, so we encourage families to bring their children and come and buy children and youth books. Buy 2, get 1 free. Maybe tomorrow is the CD day. Oh my goodness, I've drawn a blank. But we have a special every day, but I think the one that is most important and the ones that comes back by popular demand is bring a reusable shopping bag for $5 and fill it with whatever is left on the last day of sale on Sunday for $5, or fill 3 bags for $10.
Wow. Now, where do you get all these books and CDs and records and stuff?
They're entirely donated. So if we don't have what you're looking for, we probably do, but if we don't, it depends what we get from the community. So everything is donated. And I'm proud to say that this event is so much bigger than Birchway in that, we're saving all of these items from going to landfill. So whatever's remaining after our Sunday wrap-up sale, we do partner with some local churches, schools, etc., and donate. But then we also partner with Salvation Army through their regional department, and they, disperse them out amongst their stores. So none of them go to the landfill. Yeah. And we're promoting low literacy opportunities in the community, and so many opportunities for volunteers to get involved and volunteer their time.
I don't know whether this gets lost in the conversation, but I want to bring it up so it doesn't get lost in the fact that what is in this digital age of all things online or artificial intelligence, or pick a technology, it is so refreshing to know that there are still people interested in reading books.
Yeah, Lee, we also were nervous when, the Kindle was introduced, and we thought, is that the end of the book riot? But people love their books. They love the feel, the smell, and they just love it. And I mean, I don't think the Kindle reads very well out in the sun either, so I've heard, but...
Well, they fix those. They get around that, but I know what you're saying, yeah.
But they were lined up yesterday for the pre-sale. We had just under 500 people, and just last night alone, we made around $30,000 in 4 hours. So
wow,
they came in droves. They're very, very excited.
That's amazing. One of the fun things or the interesting things about people that still like books, and I happen to be one of them, is the sharing of those books, and that's part and parcel the motivation, I'm sure, for people coming to your event, the Book Riot at the Gale Center, is the fact that my wife, for example, has a circle of ladies that we share books back and forth. I read them as well, but it's the ladies that really kind of form the nucleus of this plan. And each person that reads the book will rate it on a scale of 10. They'll say they'll write in the cover, it's a 7 because of whatever, and then somebody else will do it. Well, I thought it was a 9.5, and they become engaged in the process of the written, typed, printed word. And to me, I just so love that, so that we don't lose that in our technological world as we go forward.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I feel like maybe there's some book club members that show up because they've got their list of what they're looking for.
They're
true, very
yeah.
specific. Yeah, they come with grocery carts or luggage bags, and they're ready to fill to get their reading material for the whole year. With the price of $3 for most titles, you'll never find that anywhere else. I mean, like if you go into Kohl's or Chapters, you're paying a lot more than that.
Yes, it's an interesting world, the world of literature, and I'm assuming you've got all brands and formats. In other words, it's not all fiction, but there's nonfiction and biographies and how-to books and all kinds of those things there.
Absolutely, everything. I mean, it's so big, Lee, that we have a map. So when you show up, we are handing you a map so you can navigate to the sections that you want to go to. And if you're having trouble finding, we have lots of volunteers wearing the teal shirt to help you find it. So it's really well organized, and that's thanks to our volunteers.
All right, last question. Remind us again of the hours that you're open.
So during the week, we're open right up until 9 p.m. and then Saturday, Sunday, it's 9 to 5.
And how long do you run? What are your dates?
So we run right up until this Sunday. So the 11th is our last day. That's when you can fill the bag for $5. And that's the wrap. Then we're back next year. So we do accept donations starting July 15th at Apple Self-Storage on Kent Avenue here in Niagara Falls.
Amanda Brait, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck with the new rebranding of Birchway. And again, Godspeed with all your work there at the Book Riot. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for the opportunity. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Books and more books and CDs and... I guffawed. That was a guffaw. That was a guffaw. But this really isn't a guffaw moment, although it sounds like it on the surface. A group of young kids, I don't know how young, in a red Mazda. So they had to be 16 or over. So I don't call those young kids. I call them teenagers or young adults, perhaps. Hurling eggs at cyclists and other vehicles in Lincoln Grimsby escarpment area today. That would have been what, yesterday?
It's going back a couple days. Probably
a couple days ago?
Weekend, maybe Sunday, Monday.
These are the reported times: 2:15, 5:30. What? They're on a schedule? They show up on a frickin' schedule? 2:15, 5:30. Are you 6:50? Are you 5:30? No, I do 2:15. You do and what are they there for? To throw eggs at passing vehicles. One cyclist sustained injuries. Incidents reported to Niagara Regional Police. If you have any information or dash cam footage that may be helpful, please report it to police. Now, you might not think on the surface that an egg is a terribly dangerous projectile, but let's say you're going 20 kilometers an hour on a bike, and the egg is being thrown at you at maybe 5 kilometers an hour. You just got a 20 or 25 kilometer an hour impact.
Well, I think the eggs are coming out of cars. So these eggs could already be going 50 50K.
You mean these people? They're driving the cars and throwing eggs at the same time?
Yeah, that's the deal. There you go. Kids in a
What
red
do you earn
Mazda 3
points for that?
hatchback
You get
hurling
10
eggs.
points for a cyclist, 30 points.
I mean, I guess they suspect that it's this vehicle here, and it's amazingly that in the comments, people suggest, I'm like, look, that's nothing to joke about. Or
No.
sorry, nothing to yoke about.
Oh, see, I'm not going there.
In the comments, people suggesting that, yeah, this happened to me like last month. People in Port Colborne saying, yeah, this happened to me.
Okay, so all of you young adults or teenagers or whatever that are doing this, take the eggs to a food bank. How about that?
Oh, here we go. Brienne, I think she's the one that got hit, Lee.
Oh, they've been caught. Thanks to everyone that shared. Good.
So let's see what Brienne put up. Here she is. Obviously, she's an endurance.
Long-term care nurse. She's a
Athlete.
runner.
She probably put up her own. Here we go.
Thanks to everyone that shared the post. Happy to say they've been caught. Be on the lookout. This is the punk that has been slingshotting eggs. That's even worse. At pedestrians and vehicles. Who comes up with this stuff? He's going to kill someone. Yeah, conceivably could. That takes egging to a whole new level.
Yeah, this is crazy. They've been caught.
Wow.
I mean, look at this stuff, Lee.
Look at that. So I guess if you're slingshotting an egg at somebody, those shells do have sharp edges when they break, and that could be some of the lacerate. Look at that.
God, what does Brienne have to put up with? Just
Oh my gosh. No human being should have to put up with that stuff. I don't know what you'd charge. What would you charge? I guess assault. You could be charged with assault for doing that. Public nuisance for sure. Wow, Brian, thank you for putting
oh, here you
that
go.
up
So
there.
it was Dan that got hit. Those are Dan's legs. See, Dan was out enjoying the afternoon on a long bike ride.
He was
got a
securing
flat
his
tire,
he
look
was
at this.
he was securing his bike in his truck bed, and I was sitting on the edge of the truck when a car flew past us, and I got pelted with 2 eggs. Startled me big time. The car took off, turned down a dead end road. They were scared shitless when they saw Dan hanging out the window saying choice words. The boys were driving so dangerously, passing several vehicles. At one point, they were doing at least 150 kilometers an hour down Mud Street into oncoming traffic. Dan was able to get a partial plate in this red maroon Mazda hatchback. Well, they caught them, so I guess that doesn't matter now, but holy cow. And yeah, to go to her point, thank you people for sharing and being on the lookout for these morons.
Yeah, that's insanity.
Who comes up with that? What kind of twisted brain comes up with that? Hey, let's take a bunch of eggs and go slingshot them at folks while they're on their bikes or in their cars. Let's go do that. Oh, okay, sounds like a good idea, Biff. Like, what the hell?
And then
Where does this come from?
There's this one too, Lee, which through Niagara 411, the suspect was also identified, and it's a little more sad, I guess.
Yeah. This has an emotional edge to it. A fellow in the morning, a man on his bike, stole, basically, the guy's bike from the back of their store, Colley Automotive in Niagara Falls and Dunn Street. Anyone with information asked to contact the police. Now, there's a sidebar to this story, and the fact that this bicycle was given to this fellow by someone who is now deceased.
No,
correct?
I think that's a different story.
Is that a
another
different story?
Yeah,
I apologize.
No problem, because there is that. And
Because
that's
there's
a
confusing-
heartwarming story or heartbreaking story, I guess. Here's video, I guess, behind Coley, and you'll see him walk by. Looks like Coley. Here he goes. There he comes.
Okay, so there he is. Just walking away with somebody's bicycle that are not inexpensive in these days.
And then the guy's identified. And
Yeah, this was the part of it. Yeah, all right. I was mixing a couple of stories together. Unfortunately, this is my brother Kyle. He's homeless and an addict. I hope they'll find him, put him in jail. It's the only way he'll get sober, hopefully, and clean himself up. If I knew where he was, I'd provide that info. Unfortunately, I'm assuming have not seen or heard from him in over a couple of years, yeah. Because addicts will take whatever they need to take to cash in to buy more drugs.
And then you see Trisha here. I mean, hyperlinks to his Facebook account. Says, come on, man, you got to get
Kyle
sober.
McGuire, when are you going to stop doing this crap and get sober? 5:30 a.m., too early to go to work, but perfect for stealing from people. There's a little bit of a subtle message there, for sure. Yeah. I talk about this numerous times, and I know there's some mental illness involved in addiction, and things make people do strange things, but it just... Kevin, I'm sorry, I guess I'm just old school, and I get so tired of seeing people panhandling with cardboard signs, smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee, sometimes with pets at their feet that take money to feed, and homeless and hungry, anything will do, and all around you there are stores with help wanted signs in the windows that would hire just about anybody to do anything, because it's hard to find somebody to work for you today, and somehow that's a non sequitur with me. These things don't fit.
Lee, let me share an uplifting story, and I'll just start with an uplifting.
Yeah, that would be good.
I'll share an uplifting image, and you remember these two people because we had them on the program in the past. On the left, that's Jenn Byford,
yes,
and on the right is Nathan, and I'll let you take it from there.
Jennifer Byford is kidney recipient, a recipient of a kidney because she was obviously in need, and a donor stepped forward. The donor is the gentleman on the right and her left. We're going to speak with, and Kevin and I have decided that we probably late January or so, but Jennifer's with us right now, and she's going to bring us up to date. Hey, Jen, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. You look fine and fit and healthy and happy.
Yeah, I definitely am. Like, it's a big change. Like, I see my change, like, every day. Like, it's amazing.
And we have done some numerous stories on people that had received or are in need of, or maybe in need of, all the different categories of kidney support and kidney transplants. So let's take us back to you. Was it late January that you received yours?
The 26th of January, actually.
26th of January. Okay. And we spoke with you back then in that general time frame. Tell us what it's been like since that day.
Well, at first, like, when I woke up, I was a completely different person. Like, I felt like I could do backflips. It was amazing. Like, everyone, that's how you'll feel, but I never really truly believed in it until I saw it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, life has been really, really good. You know, it's been a little hard with all the meds and the meds I'm on, and they make me kind of feel kind of cruddy sometimes, but it's a small price to pay for a new life and doing things with my son.
And that was one of the things that we talked about. How old is your son now?
He's 5.
And I can still see it affects you emotionally because, I mean, your fear was that you wouldn't be able to maybe see him C6.
No.
Yeah. And what's his name?
It's Riot.
Yeah. So the medications that you were talking about, I assume these are like anti-rejection drugs and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Will you be on them forever, or can you phase those out?
Definitely not. I'll definitely be on them forever until, like, the kidney is like, okay, I'm gonna leave now, but hopefully that doesn't happen for another 30 years, as the surgeon said. Like, everything went so well that we're hoping that this lasts for 30 years. And
how long were you, this is a question that we asked before, but I cannot remember, I apologize. How long were you suffering with kidney disease prior to your transplant?
Oh gosh. Actually, I was only born with one as a baby. It was not a surprise to my mom. She knew. We spent countless days and sometimes months in sick kids because they needed to make sure everything was all right. And they did tell my mom eventually, like, I would need a transplant. It was inevitable, but we never thought it would be when I was like 30 years old.
Yeah. So this has been a lifelong lifestyle for you.
Yeah.
So this is probably since January then. This is the first time you, and I hate to use the normal word, but this is the first time you've actually been able to live sort of like a, here we go, normal human being.
Yeah, well, I lived normally as a child, but
Yeah.
it was a little harder because I did only have the one kidney and it was kind of crapping out.
Okay.
I definitely feel much better.
Now, tell us about your. Do you still have a relationship with the donor?
Yeah, I mean, we talk, and I talk to his wife, and I don't know how I can thank them, like what we. I don't think was.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. What did you just say?
Can you hear me now?
It's just that you're breaking in and out.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so what I was saying was what we went through definitely I don't think was easy on all three of us at all, but you know, it definitely came down to me getting a new life, and I'm forever grateful for these people.
I would suppose so. We seem to be, and maybe it's because our communication systems are more effective, but it just seems to me that we are talking with more and more people that are in a situation. Now, you were in this situation pretty much from birth, so that's a little bit of a different twist. But a close friend of mine is on dialysis now 3 or 4 times a week because of a congenital issue in his family with kidney disease. We talked with another family a couple of times over the last year or so where this fellow just had a person came forward about a year ago, much like yourself, where someone donated a kidney. This seems to be an area of incredible importance these days. Are you aware of any reason why we might be either having an increased incidence of kidney failure or kidney disease or kidney donors being required, or is it just because of our times and the communications that we have? What do you think about that?
I think it's mostly our times, definitely. But I think a lot of people are very ill-informed at how kidney donation works, or like I can't speak as a kidney donor myself, but I've been around many kidney donors.
Sure.
That people are very misinformed at, you know, how can I live with only one kidney, or what happens to me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Free time, and like it's possible you can live with one kidney and be perfectly healthy, normal life.
Yeah. We're going to be speaking with a gentleman in a little while who is in search of a donor, and he's had a really tough go of it. It looks like because of, and he'll tell us more about that, but it looks like from what I read that because of a genetic issue within his family, live donorship is probably a remote possibility. So he may be looking at or predominantly a deceased donor. And that is a very long waiting list. Do you stay close to that world since you are a recipient yourself?
Yes, like I have many people reach out to me. I've actually gotten to the point where I write their stories and I talk to them and say, you know, it's okay, like you can get through this, because I did it with a 5-year-old, and you can do it, because on the other side of the transplant world, it's so much better. But yeah.
Okay, Jennifer, I'm so happy. It's hard. I don't think we could blast that smile off your face. Yeah, it's so nice it's so nice to see you happy, and we're thrilled that you were able to join us today, and continued great health. Enjoy your son and your life, and stay in touch with us so we can continue to track your success. It's so wonderful to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, take care. Live well.
Thank you.
Kyle Pitt is the gentleman that we were talking about just earlier, that has a long and unpleasant story about his travel through battles with kidney disease. And this is a note that Nick put on to share for Kyle. Kyle's a Niagara native looking for a live kidney donor. And there is a way that you can apply, and that link is right there on Niagara 411 if you think that you might be in a position to or have a desire to donate. And Kyle's story is below that. 39 years old, lives in Port Colborne. Up until January, life was normal. He had a full-time job in Niagara Falls, had his own house, he was married. Everything changed overnight when his kidneys started to go south. He knew something was wrong. He was losing weight. Co-workers noticed. Unfortunately, he was, as I mentioned when I was talking to Jennifer, diagnosed with a kidney disease called polycystic kidney disease. Acquired it from his mom, who passed away from that disease. She was on the transplant list, but it did not. She didn't last long enough. He was also married, had a house in Dane City. His wife was going, and this is where it turns ugly. His wife was going to donate, but she had a change of plans when he was getting sick, so she decided to flee the scene. So now you're emotionally heartbroken. You're still physically crushed. You can't afford to not work and own a house. He's living with his father. And in spite of the fact that he gets some financial assistance, it's still hard to make ends meet and live whatever life you have. Kyle, welcome to the program. Thanks for being here, man. I guess all I can say is, how are you today?
I'm hanging in. Currently on the dialysis machine as we speak.
You're on dialysis right now?
Yeah. Lee, just let me hop in here. Kyle, if you can hear me, it's producer Kevin, and the Wi-Fi there. You're over at the dialysis center. How about you just turn off your video, and we'll just do an audio, and I'll throw up a picture of you, and I think that'll help things go smooth. I don't think we're going to overcome the low bandwidth.
Okay.
Okay.
So click off the video, and we'll do the audio. There we go.
There you go. Can you still hear us, Kyle?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Yep.
All right, thanks. So thanks for being here. Now you're 39 years old. You're on both of your kidneys have predominantly failed you, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And this was as a result of this polycystic kidney disease. Am I saying it correctly?
You are. Yeah. Yes.
What is that?
Basically, what it is my mother had it, so I inherited it from her. And basically, what it is just as it sounds. I get these big cysts on my kidneys. So a normal kidney, they say, is about the size of your fist.
Right.
Mine right now so I got two still in there, and they're double the size that they're supposed to be because of the cyst growth, and then it causes the kidneys to swell, and then over time more and more cysts show up, causing the kidneys to work less and less
because the kidneys block the performance.
Right. It doesn't filter the blood anymore as effectively as it was a healthy kidney. Okay.
So when you go through dialysis, how does the dialysis work? Because is the recycling of the blood, etc., is it still not battling with these cysts?
It's basically, it does. That's why I have to come 3 days a week, because it does filter out my blood.
Right.
But the kidneys still aren't doing their job, so that's why like I have to come three days a week.
And what is it, like
rather than
4 hours at a time or something like that?
4 hours at a time, yes, sir.
Okay, so you're sitting there attached to a machine 3
Yeah.
days a week,
Yep.
4 hours at a time, at least a half an hour there and a half an hour back, and so this takes up pretty much what would normally be a full working day.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, if you were working, which of course you're not working now, correct?
Not currently, no. I mean, I would love to, but I'm a licensed auto mechanic. It's what I've done basically my entire life. And like I said it before, I got really sick. I was, 225 pounds. I was strong. I was fit. And then I got sick. I weigh about 125 pounds now. And with the dialysis and the stuff, I just don't have the strength at the moment to do that job anymore.
Kyle, we saw you in one of your pictures with a young child. Are you a dad?
I'm not a dad. That's my brother. That's my wonderful niece. I mean, that was another plan. I wanted to start a family and everything, and everything kind of just went bad in a matter of a month or two. So it wasn't only the loss of the donor that was going to give me the kidney, but there was a lot more that I lost out of that than just the kidney, right?
Well, we told a bit of your story that you may have heard before you came on. Your wife, and I understand that people are not necessarily equipped to handle certain situations emotionally, but obviously,
Right.
Obviously, your wife was unable to deal with that, and that I mean, people are who they are, but that can't have been anything that helped you much through this situation.
No, not at all.
So here we are. Now you're living with your dad?
Currently I am, yes.
And now he's how is his health? How old is he and how is his health?
Well, he's getting up there. I mean, he's 70 years old. He's diabetic. It's the years are catching up to him, but he's still mobile and walking around. So I'm grateful for that. I mean, I'm grateful that he's still around, because if he wasn't around, I mean, I don't know where I'd be laying my head tonight, to be honest with you. Like it was scary.
Parents do things like that for their. I guess it's unfortunate, but not a lot of children realize how much their parents love them until they have reason to realize how much their parents love them.
Absolutely. And I can't thank him enough for what he's done for me. I mean, he's been great.
Okay, now let me ask you another. It's more of a technical question, I guess, than an emotional one.
Sure.
You were born with this condition, this polycystic kidney disease.
Right.
If someone comes forward that, and I think you said in your story you're B plus as a blood type.
Yes.
Yeah. So if someone comes forward and decides that they would like to apply to be a donor, there is of course that link on the site. Kevin's showing it right now on the screen, just so that you know. But there was a site on 411 whereby people, if they thought they might like to donate, can learn the ins and outs of it. But my question to you is, if someone does donate a kidney to you, is there anything in your system, in your genetic makeup, that would continue to be a problem with the new kidney, or is it just kidney isolated? I might not be asking the question correctly, but do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying totally, yes. So, with that being said, This is all 100% kidney related.
Uh-huh.
I have, like when the ex was with me, I had to go through, like you said, we were planning on doing a donation there, so I actually had to go through a bunch of testing to make sure my heart's still good, that I don't have diabetes. Basically, to make sure that once they put the kidney in there, is my body going to be strong?
Are you going to? Is that kidney also going to get the disease? I guess is the question.
Right. So what they're going to do is when the day comes, they're going to take both of my kidneys out, and they're just going to put the one good one in there.
Right.
But from the rest of my health point, like I said, I've had all the other health testing and stuff done like that. There is no other factors that will affect the performance of the new kidney.
That's good. That's good to know, because that might be important for a donor. That I'm willing to help out here, but I don't want to help out and then find out that it didn't work. Right.
Right. And they do everything that they can to make sure that doesn't happen. And as long as after the kidney's in there, it's obviously my responsibility to be on anti-rejection medication that I'll have to take for the rest of my life.
Right.
After I get the kidney.
What is the? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say one other thing too. A lot of people don't understand is you don't have to be the exact same blood type to donate a kidney to somebody.
Okay.
That's what happened in my wife's case. So what they do is my wife says, yeah, I'm willing to donate a kidney, but it's not compatible with him. So what they do is they find somebody else that's willing to donate a kidney that aren't a match for their, like, say your brother needed a kidney, but you're not a match. But your brother's kidney will work for me, and my wife's will work for your brother. They basically do a trade.
Oh, so there could be 2 or 3 operations in one going on here.
Right. So they do that 3 times a year. Just to try to get more people the kidneys that they need.
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't have to be a direct blood match. It's just
but there has
like
to be some compatibility.
And they're going to make sure again that the recipient, it's not a lot of, I would say they're non-invasive tests, basically just checking your heart rate and stuff like that.
Sure. Just
to make sure that they'll be good to go through the surgery as well too.
Kyle, what are your prospects right now? What are the odds of you either getting a live donor to step up? I guess those odds are impossible to predict, but there's as I understand it from what you said in your story, that there is a long waiting list for a deceased donor opportunity.
Yes, when I went on dialysis, like I get put on the waiting list the first day that I'm hooked up to the dialysis machine, but they straight out told me that the waiting list right now for a kidney transplant is anywhere from 7 to 10 years for a deceased donor. Well, and like I said, my mother was doing it. She did the dialysis for 7, and in those 7 years never got a call for a transplant. So,
Kyle,
so some people are claiming they get it.
Pardon?
So yeah, some people are claiming they get them in 2 years, but I don't know. Those people, I guess, are lucky, or they might have had another condition where they had to get one in them really quick.
Yeah,
but,
I suppose
yeah, I
there's
was
some
told
sort
it's
of.
going to be, you know.
I suppose there's some sort of triage thing that the medical community goes through. But I'll tell you one thing before I say farewell, because we're getting short on time. Is
Sure.
I'm going to go home today and definitely rethink my organ donor plan that is in place, because people that have driver's license have organ donor opportunities and things, and I was never one that really felt comfortable with that. But the more I talk to people like you, I think I'm going to do a rethink on that, because it's I'm starting to think I've been incredibly selfish all these years. So I'm going to rethink it.
Yeah, and it's all up to you. Like, it's a lot to ask of a person, eh? But it takes that one special person, that maybe I do want to help this guy out and save his life and keep going, right?
Okay, Kyle Pitt.
But it.
I get it. I'm gonna run, and you've given us an incredible amount of things to think about. Not that was what you're trying to do. You're trying to save your own life, and hopefully that'll happen in the not too distant future. We'll stay in touch with you, okay, Kyle?
Thank you. I appreciate you guys and everything you guys do. You guys do a wonderful job.
Be well.
Keep it going. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye now.
So, Lee, we're about to show the outside.
Sorry, almost
shot.
a tear there.
No, I hear you, man. About to show an outside shot, and that's a lot about what people are talking today. And Nick at 411 just recently shared this.
Oh, the smoke.
So same spot in the Niagara region, 1 week apart, thanks to K Culp. I mean, there you have it. That's last week, today.
Huh. Okay. I didn't expect that. We're going to...
No, these are real human stories, Lee. These are the people of Niagara. These are, you listen to that guy's story. He's at a tough spot.
We're going to say thank you once again to Gale's Gas Bars, our major sponsor for the program, Virgin Insurance, and our two newest sponsors. This is week 3 for Ace Alignment and Hartsel Marine. Words cannot express how much we appreciate you being here, because we get a chance to, because of your participation, bring you stories just like this. And coming up to play us off the stage, James Blonde. They're going to be performing a song called Delirium. They just released a new tune called Say What You Want. We don't have a video of that just yet because it's all brand new. But by all means, pay some attention to James Blonde. Thanks for being here. Kevin, thank you.
Noticing signs of perpetual delirium. Sometimes if you wanna be fixed, well, you gotta get wrecked again. Who says two wrongs don't make a right? Well, I barely recovered from my latest bender. She's calling again and I'm gonna let her. Look around the room. Can you find me something that I can hold on to? Look around the room. Can you find me something? I'm spinning round, 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 round. Giving my magic ball a shake, and the outlook's not so good. I know how much I can take. Don't run away. Who says you don't have to go alone and it's fucking disgusting. Excuse me, my pants just need readjusting. Look around the room. Can you find me something that I can hold on to? Look around the room. Can you find me something? I'm spinning round, round, round. I'm spinning round, round, round. I'm having dreams of effervescence. Blow a kiss goodbye to my presence. I'd be living a lie if I made any sense. I'd give it a try, but I'm far too dense. Look around the room.